Have you ever asked yourself why some people seem to get ahead faster, sharper, calmer, while you're stuck on repeat, watching the same days play over and over again? It's not that they're better. It's not even that they're smarter. It's that they do something most people won't. They get up at 5 a.m. Now hold on. Before you roll your eyes and think this is just another motivational cliche, listen closely. This video isn't about waking up early just to sound impressive. This is about why that one choice, rising at 5 a.m., can completely redefine your life. Because 5 a.m. isn't just a time, it's a statement. It says, I'm not waiting for life to happen to me. I'm building it before the world wakes up. You see, champions aren't created in the spotlight. They're built in the silence. They're sculpted in the hours no one sees, when it's dark, quiet and cold, and every part of your body says, stay in bed, but your purpose whispers louder, get up. This hour isn't about productivity, it's about power. Power over your distractions. Power over your excuses. Power over your past self. Because at 5 a.m., there are no distractions, no opinions, no noise. There's only clarity, there's only intention, there's only the unshakable discipline that separates those who dream from those who do. And if you think you're not a morning person, let me tell you this. No one is born a champion. They're built by choice, by action, by doing the uncomfortable over and over again. This video isn't about forcing you into some productivity trend. This is about unlocking the version of you that's buried under comfort, fear, and routine. The version of you that's hungry, the one that's been waiting for the silence to speak, the one that knows deep down it's time to stop reacting to life and start designing it. So if you're tired of starting over, if you're ready to take back control of our time, your energy, your direction, then this is your moment. Because in the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly why 5 a.m. is the hour that builds warriors, leaders, creators, champions, and how it can build you. This is your invitation to rise before the world does, to build momentum while others are sleeping, to create a life of alignment, clarity, and control. Not later, not next week, now. Let's begin. The unseen hour of champions. At 5 a.m., the world is still. There are no emails demanding your attention, no notifications hijacking your focus, no noise from the outside world. The city hasn't stirred. The traffic hasn't started. The world is silent. And that's exactly why champions rise in this hour. This is not just about waking up early. This is about what waking up early represents. It's a declaration, a quiet, powerful statement that says, I'm not like the rest. I don't need the crowd. I don't wait for the sun. I rise with purpose. While others are tangled in their bed sheets, lost in the comfort of a few more hours of sleep, the elite are already moving. They've laced up their shoes. They've opened their journals. They've pressed play on discipline. They're running laps around the competition. Not because they're better, but because they're earlier. At 5 a.m., you are alone with your greatness. You are not yet distracted. You're not yet influenced by the outside world. You are raw. You are real. You meet the part of yourself that most people avoid. The part that doesn't need applause, permission, or motivation. This is where you train your identity. Champions know that who you are at 5 a.m. is who you truly are. Before the meetings, the makeup, the deadlines, the social masks. You see, 5 a.m. doesn't just build champions, it reveals them. Because to get up at 5 a.m., you have to defeat comfort. You have to silence excuses. You have to value your vision more than your pillow. It requires you to live by decision, not emotion. And that's what champions do. They don't rise when they feel like it. They rise because they said they would. They rise because discipline has become their default. When you start your day this early, you step into life from a position of power. You've already achieved before the rest have even begun. That confidence follows you through too. Heed day like armor. And the results, they compound. Because each morning you rise at 5 a.m., you reaffirm your identity as someone who leads, not follows. Someone who creates momentum instead of waiting for it. Someone who doesn't need an audience to be excellent. Success doesn't scream at you. It whispers at 5 a.m. And only those who are awake can hear it. So if you want to think like a champion, move like a champion, live like a champion, you must rise when champions rise. Because in that unseen hour, there are no distractions, only decisions. And if you make the right ones consistently, the world will wonder how you did it. But you'll know, you won the battle before the sun came up. Stillness creates strength. At 5 a.m., the world is silent. And in that silence lies something most people never experience. Pure stillness. No calls, no deadlines, no social media noise. Just you, your breath, your thoughts, and your next move. This stillness is not emptiness, it's power. The kind of power that creates clarity, vision, and unmatched focus. And that's exactly why champions protect this hour. with everything they have. You see, in today's world, everything is fast. Fast information, fast distractions, fast opinions. But what's rare is stillness, and stillness is where the strong are shaped. At 5 a.m., you aren't being pulled in 1,000 directions. You aren't bombarded with demands. You aren't reacting. You are designing your day, not surviving it. That's why the most elite performers, CEOs, top athletes, world-class thinkers all have one thing in common. They guard the early morning like it's sacred. Because it is. This is the time when you reconnect with yourself. You align your mind. You calm your spirit. You decide how you'll show up today before anyone else gets a say. Champions don't stumble into strength. They build it in silence. They meditate. They journal. They visualize their goals, their values, their purpose. Why? Because the world is coming and it's loud. There will be challenges, critics, temptations, and chaos. If you wait until then to find your center, you've already lost. Stillness is your weapon. It sharpens your awareness. It builds your emotional endurance. It gives you perspective when everyone else is lost in pressure. Think of a monk, sitting in silence, breathing deeply, grounded and immovable. Now think of a warrior, strong, trained and ready. The champion is both. And 5 a.m. is when they become one. This is the time to ask yourself, who do I want to be today? What matters most right now? What will I do to me? Move closer to the life I'm building. You won't get those answers in the rush of emails and chaos. You get them in stillness. And when you find that clarity, your actions become powerful. You stop reacting to life. You start leading it. This is why 5 a.m. isn't just about getting a head start. It's about getting aligned. So when you step into the noise, you're not shaken. You're rooted. You know what you're doing and why you're doing it. And that kind of strength, it doesn't shout. It radiates. So tomorrow, when the world is sleeping and the silence is calling, don't ignore it. Sit in it. Breathe in it. Train your mind in it. Because that stillness, it's not the absence of action. It's the preparation for greatness. The discipline multiplier. Waking up at 5 a.m. isn't just a time. It's a mindset, a choice, a declaration. It's a quiet, consistent war you win against yourself every single morning. And in that war, discipline is the weapon. Let's be honest. No one wants to wake up at 5 a.m. The bed is warm. The room is dark. Your body says stay. Your dreams say go. This is where champions are made. Not when it's easy, but when it's tempting not to follow through. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you add a brick to your foundation. And the stronger your foundation, the taller you can build your life. That's why 5 a.m. is so powerful. It's not just the early hour, it's what that hour represents. A choice to put purpose before pleasure. A choice to build yourself before the world pulls at you. A choice to lead yourself instead of being dragged by life. See, discipline is contagious. When you win in one area, it spreads into everything else. You wake up early, so now you want to eat better. You eat better. So now you have more energy to train. You train. So now you think sharper, move faster, focus longer. Waking up at 5 a.m. becomes your discipline multiplier. It's the spark that ignites every other habit because it sets a tone. I am in charge. Not your alarm clock, not your cravings, not your mood. Champions know that success doesn't come from doing something once. It comes from doing the right things over and over, especially when it's hard. That's what separates winners from the rest. They don't need hype to take action. They just do it, day in, day out. Think of discipline like a muscle. If you skip your mental workouts, sleeping in, making excuses, avoiding effort, it weakens. But when you practice discipline each morning, you get stronger. Your self-control increases. Your self-respect grows. Your results start compounding. And here's the truth, Moses. People avoid. Success is boring. It's early mornings, daily reps, quiet progress. It's showing up again and again when no one's watching. But that's where greatness is born. At 5 a.m., there's no competition. Because most people aren't willing to pay that price. But if you are, you'll separate yourself fast. So when your alarm rings tomorrow and everything in you says go back to bed, remember this. That moment is your training. That moment is your edge. That moment is what makes you different. Don't hit snooze. Hit greatness. Rise with discipline. Rise with intention. And let the rest of your life reflect the decision you made when no one else was watching. Because discipline at 5 a.m., it's not just an act, it's your identity. A head start on the world. Imagine this, while most people are buried deep in sleep, you're already up, moving, thinking, creating. You've read 10 pages, you've meditated, you've planned your day, maybe you've already worked out, and the rest of the world hasn't even opened their eyes yet. That's the advantage of 5 a.m. It's not just about productivity, it's about positioning. Champions don't wait for the world to set the pace, they set it themselves. Waking up early gives you a head start on everything, not just on tasks, but on mindset, momentum, and mastery. By 8 a.m., while others are scrambling to get ready, you're already in flow. You've had hours of uninterrupted time to invest in your goals, your body, and your mind. And that's something most people never experience. Most people start their day by reacting to texts, to emails, to the pressure of being late. Champions, they start their day by leading it. When you rise at 5 a.m., you own your time. You get to decide what matters before anyone else decides it for you. You're not waking up to demands, you're waking up to opportunity. The early morning is your laboratory. It's where you work on the parts of yourself and your mission that need attention, that require growth, that demand focus. No one's interrupting you. No one's expecting anything. It's you versus you, and that's where transformation begins. This head start compounds. If you gain 2 extra hours a day, that's 14 hours a week, 56 hours a month, over 600 hours a year that your competition doesn't have. What could you build with 600 hours of uninterrupted focus? A business, a book, a body you're proud of, a new skill, a completely different life. That's why the most successful people in the world don't just wake up early because it sounds good. They do it because they know the math of success. It's not about being better, it's about being earlier. And earlier gives you options, earlier gives you perspective, earlier gives you control. You don't get that kind of power by waking up late and rushing out the door. You get it by deciding the night before that tomorrow starts before sunrise. But don't misunderstand this. Waking up early won't automatically change your life. It's what you do with that time that does. So don't waste it scrolling, drifting, or procrastinating. Use that time to create, to grow, to sharpen yourself. That's what champions do. They don't wake up early for bragging rights. They do it because they know success favors the prepared, and preparation happens before the world even knows you're awake. So tomorrow, when your alarm rings and your comfort begs you to stay down, remember this: the race has already begun, and the champion is already ahead. Be that champion. Protecting energy and focus. One of the greatest advantages of rising at 5 a.m. is this: your energy is untouched. Before the world gets loud, before your phone starts buzzing, before demands start flooding in, your mental space is yours. And that moment of silence, that clean slate, that's where champions protect their edge. Most people don't realize this, but energy is currency. Where you spend it determines your life. And if you wait until the world wakes up to decide where to spend yours, it's already gone. It's been spent reacting to noise, replying to messages, solving everyone else's problems except your own. But when you rise at 5 a.m., you flip the script. You don't react, you design. You don't consume, you create. You don't leak energy, you channel it. Champions guard their energy like it's sacred, because it is. They know their focus is their superpower, and they refuse to let the chaos of the world decide where that power goes. So what do they do at 5 a.m.? They move intentionally. They practice rituals that renew them, like meditation, journaling, stretching, training. They read what sharpens their mind. They avoid screens. They avoid the scroll. They don't open the door to distractions. They lock it. And here's why that matters. The first thing you do in the morning sets the tone for everything that follows. If you start with chaos, your mind carries that. But if you start with clarity, you build momentum that compounds throughout the day. Focus is a fragile thing in the modern world. Every ping, every post, every push notification chips away at it. That's why 5 a.m. is so valuable. It's a distraction-free zone. And in that space, you can go deep into your thoughts, deep into your goals, deep into the tasks that actually move your life forward. Think about it. How much more could you achieve if your most important work was done before no one had the chance to interrupt it? That's what champions do. They protect their mornings because they know the world isn't entitled to their attention. They don't give it away easily. They invest it with precision, with purpose. They create before the consumption begins. They decide who they are before the opinions start arriving. They fill their own cup before the world tries to drain it. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about being better than you were yesterday. And protecting your morning is how you make that happen. So if you want to change your life, protect your focus. Guard your mornings like gold, because once they're gone, you don't get them back. Wake up. Don't check in with the world. Check in with yourself. Because the most powerful thing you can do in this noisy world is to train your attention and direct your energy with intention. Champions know that. Now you do too. Building self-trust. Every time you set your alarm for 5 a.m. and actually get up, you're doing more than just waking early. You're building something far more powerful than a habit. You're building self-trust. Let's pause there, because this isn't talked about enough. We hear about motivation, about goals, about hustle, but none of it matters if you don't trust yourself to follow through. When you say, I'm going to do this, and you do it, your brain records that. It says, yes, I follow through, I keep my word. And every time you repeat that process, your confidence grows, not from hype, but from evidence. And that's what waking up at 5 a.m. gives you, daily evidence that you can count on yourself. Now let's flip it. When you say, I'll wake up early, and hit snooze instead, your subconscious also records that. And the message becomes, I don't really mean what I say. I talk more than I act. I make promises to myself, but I break them when it's uncomfortable. That's not discipline, that's self-betrayal. And you can't build a powerful life on a foundation of broken promises to yourself. Champions understand this. They know the most important relationship in their life isn't with a coach, a mentor, or a team. It's the relationship with themselves, because when you trust yourself, you don't need external validation. You don't need approval. You don't need to rely on motivation to act. You do what needs to be done, because you've built the identity of someone who follows through. And that identity? It's not built in public. It's built in the dark, in silence, in the lonely hours of early morning. That's why 5 a.m. is sacred. It's where your discipline is born. It's where your integrity sharpens. It's where your inner warrior gets stronger. Every day you get up and do the work when it would be easier not to, you win a battle. And those battles stay stuck up. They compound into a kind of self-respect no one can give you and no one can take away. So stop thinking of early mornings as a punishment. Start seeing them as an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are becoming the person you said you'd be. And when that internal belief grows, everything changes. Your decisions get sharper. Your emotions get steadier. Your energy becomes more grounded. Because now you're not doubting yourself. You're trusting yourself. So tomorrow morning, when the comfort of your bed whispers louder than your goals, remember this. You're not just choosing between sleep and hustle. You're choosing between doubt and self-trust. Champions always choose trust. They do what they say. They build momentum through action, and they let consistency be the proof of who they are. Let your 5 a.m. victories be your identity, because when you trust yourself truly, there's nothing you can't build. Owning the morning, owning the life. Let's get something straight. If you own the morning, you own the day. And if you consistently own your days, guess what? You eventually own your life. It all starts with those first few hours. Those quiet, powerful, intentional hours before the rest of the world even wakes up. This is the time when ordinary people become unstoppable. Champions don't leave their mornings to chance. They don't stumble into their day and hope to find clarity or momentum. They create it. That's the secret. The 5 a.m. hour isn't just about being early. It's about being in control. Because how you start your day directly shapes how you move through it. It sets the emotional tone. It defines your focus. It determines whether you lead or follow. Most people wake up reactive. Their alarm goes off. They groan, scroll their phone, rush out the door. They're behind from the first minute. But not champions. Champions wake up with purpose. They don't wait for the world to tell them what matters. They already decided the night before. They've already mapped their day. They've already set their intentions. They've already put their mind, body, and spirit in alignment. By the time the world wakes up, they're already in motion. This head start isn't about arrogance, it's about advantage. If you give yourself 2 to 3 hours each morning to train, reflect, learn, and create, think about the edge that gives you over the long haul. 165 days of that. That's nearly 1,000 hours a year of quiet, focused, powerful momentum. While others are stuck reacting to life, you've built a life on your terms. But here's the best part. Owning your morning builds confidence like nothing else. Because every morning you wake up early, every time you follow your plan, you prove to yourself, I'm in control. Not your doubts, not your distractions, not your fears, That belief bleeds into every area of your life, your work, your health, your relationships. People can feel it when someone walks in the room who's been winning since sunrise. It's in their energy, their presence, their certainty. You want that? Then stop waiting for motivation. Start building structure. Design a morning routine that serves you. Guard it with everything. Make it your sacred launchpad for the day. Whether it's prayer, journaling, working out, or just deep reflection, own it. Because once you own your mornings, chaos doesn't shake you. Obstacles don't derail you. You've already grounded yourself in purpose. Remember, champions aren't made in the spotlight. They're made in the shadows. They're made before dawn. They're made when nobody's watching. And there's no applause, only accountability. So ask yourself this. What would your life look like if you stopped snoozing on your potential? What would change if you took back your mornings starting now? Don't just wake up, rise, own it, and let the world adjust to the standard you've set. The hour that transforms you. You see, 5 a.m. is more than just a number on the clock. It's more than a productivity hack or a self-help trend. It's a threshold, a moment where the old version of you gets left behind and the next level version of you steps forward. Because when you wake up at 5 a.m., you're not just rising early, you're rising above. Above your excuses, above your fears, above your old patterns of comfort and delay. At 5 a.m., there are no fans, no audience, no trophies waiting. There's just the sound of your alarm, the silence of the world, and the decision. Who are you going to be today? That's the power of this hour. It strips everything down and forces you to face yourself. No distractions, no noise, no one to blame. Only you. And in that space, unfiltered, uncomfortable, and unbelievably quiet, something incredible happens. You transform. You begin to think clearer. You begin to move differently. You begin to feel like you're no longer chasing greatness. You're becoming it. Because transformation is not some lightning strike of motivation. It's the slow daily burn of consistency in the dark. It's showing up when no one notices. It's doing the reps no one applauds. It's winning small, invisible battles before the sun ever touches the sky. This is what separates people who dream from people who do. The dreamers wait for inspiration. The doers create discipline. The dreamers plan for someday. The doers wake up and build today. And it all starts at 5 a.m. So what happens if you commit to it? If you stop negotiating with the snooze button? If you build a routine that feeds your spirit, your body, your vision every single morning? What happens is, in 30 days, your mindset changes. In 90 days, your habits are new. In 1 year, your results don't even look like the same life. It's not magic, it's not luck, it's not motivation, it's momentum, because momentum doesn't come from waiting. It comes from moving. Early, consistently, relentlessly. The 5 a.m. hour is a sacred contract with yourself. It says, I am committed to my growth even when I'm tired. I will prioritize what matters even when it's hard. I will show up because my future deserves nothing less. And that's how you win, not in one big dramatic leap, but in small, quiet, daily steps before the world is even awake. So tomorrow morning when that alarm goes off, don't just hear a sound, hear a calling. The calling to rise into your full power, to separate yourself from average, to step into the mindset of a champion. AM is not the finish line, it's the starting block. And the race you're running, it's the one that leads you to your destiny. Get up and let the world feel what happens when a warrior is awake before the sun. So now, after everything you've heard, it's time to ask yourself the most important question. What are you really waiting for? The truth is, success doesn't arrive with fanfare. It doesn't come crashing through your front door. It doesn't knock twice. It whispers quietly at 5 a.m. And if you're too busy sleeping through your purpose, you'll miss it. Waking up at 5 a.m. isn't about punishing yourself. It's about prioritizing yourself. It's about creating the space to build, to think, to breathe, to become the person you've always known you could be, but never gave yourself the time to become. Champions don't stumble into greatness. They rise into it. They take ownership of the early hours because they know that's where the real work begins. Not the external grind, but the internal growth. Those early hours shape your mindset. They sharpen your discipline. They fuel your ambition. And most of all, they give you something the average person never gets. A quiet edge. Think about it. If you woke up just 2 hours earlier every day, you'd gain 730 extra hours a year. That's over 30 full days. What could you create in that time? What could you build, learn, transform? You've got the same 24 hours as anyone else, but champions choose to own their hours, not waste them. So when you're tempted tomorrow morning to hit snooze, when that warm bed calls louder than your purpose, remember, discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. That alarm isn't your enemy, it's your reminder that you are not average, that you are not built for comfort, that you were meant to lead, to rise, to impact, to win. And it starts not with applause, not with motivation, but with a simple choice to rise at 5 a.m., to own your morning, to own your energy, to own your life. Because here's the truth, you don't become a champion when you achieve the goal, you become a champion when you do the work no one sees, at the hour no one wants to rise, for a future that no one believes in but you. So get up, rise, take control. You've been sleeping on your greatness long enough. Champions are built when the world is still. This is your time. Make it count.